And where down we go, where down we go, so where down we go, way down we go.
This is Larry Connors USA. Larry Connors USA.
The border is secure. The border is closed. We've been unequivocal in that, and we are operationalizing our processes, executing our plans. We are a nation of laws, and we treat vulnerable children humanely. We can do it, and we are doing it.
So says Alejandro Mayorkas, the head of our Department of Homeland Security, appearing over the weekend with Chris Wallace on Fox, saying the border is closed. Those are pretty direct words. But are we seeing the border closed? I don't think so. And in fact, Republican Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton says what you heard from Mayorkas is, well, I'm going to say it for him, it's a lie.
The border is wide open. There are reports now that Customs and Border Patrol may be directed to simply start processing people in the country without even giving them a notice to appear in court. And of course, all of these bogus asylum claims are taking up so much manpower and resources at the border. That means that we also have other threats, like increases in fentanyl and other kinds of drug trafficking, or persons on the terrorist watch list crossing into our border. The border right now is wide open because the Biden administration dismantled the very effective policies of the Trump administration and the agreements we had with Mexico and other Latin American countries.
And remember, during a 2019 Democrat primary, Biden said the U.S. is a country that tells people struggling under oppression or poor conditions, you should come. You should come. That's what he said during the primary debate. He argued for a more open asylum policy. And he said in 2019, he said they deserve to be heard, all these illegals. And we're a nation that says you want to flee, you're fleeing oppression, you should come. But these are not all asylum seekers. Now, they will say the right words to claim they are, but they're not. They want, like many, to come to this country. They see it as a land of milk and honey, a better country than where they are, and that's understandable. And we bring in legal immigrants every year, and this country's founded on legal immigration. We owe our culture in this country to so many other cultures that have come into our nation, assimilated, and yet also shared their culture, be it food, the language, customs. That's made us a very rich country in so many different ways. And they came as brown, yellow, red, black, white, and they brought what they had in their country, but they really wanted to be here. And I understand that. And certainly when we know children are starving in some of these countries, yeah, I'd like to see them be taken care of. Their own country's not doing it. We have tried and sent money down to Central America, big packets of money, trying to take care of them down there. The problem is who ends up getting it. Like anywhere, it may only go to the top 2 or 3 levels, the tier at the top, and then after that, just doesn't exist. But you want to know why they're coming? It's because Biden said during 2019, you should come. Now, just the other day in an interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC, just last week, he said, I can say quite clearly, don't come. Are you confused? You know they are. And how should they believe that message just last week from Biden when they see the pictures and streams of hordes of people crossing our border? And they're thinking, wait a minute. They say don't come, and yet they're going in. If I don't rush and get up there in a hurry, then they will really close it down. So White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said sometimes there is language that is used by some that is not including the full context of his comments. Well, for them, it's very simple. We come or we don't come. And you already said we should come. And I want you to keep something in mind. I'm going to talk about the cost of funding the drug cartels in a moment. But before that, There's a breakout here I have in front of me, and the source that put this together, and let me see here. This is it's a Los Angeles-based correspondent for the Fox News channel focusing on business. And it's his work showing that the study that this smuggling windfall, the human smuggling windfall, in costing our border crisis, our cost for the U.S. taxpayers is now going up to $5 million a day. $5 million a day. And that's really based on 2019 figures, not this latest crisis, 2019. And we're putting something like the shelter cost at $800 per illegal. And last week, we do know this, the Biden administration awarded an $86 million contract for hotel rooms to hold 1,200 migrant families as the crisis exceeds ICE holding capacity. So our government is paying out $86 million to take care of these illegals because we're allowing them to come in. And I'm sure that our humane spirit and our desire to help fellow man, we want to do that. But we have homeless all over this nation, certainly in clusters in San Fran, Seattle, L.A., Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, Dallas, Austin. You look all around, you're going to find the homeless. And we're not taking care of our own citizens to begin with. $86 million for hotel rooms. Looks to me like the hotel industry is going to do pretty good on this little deal. And I'm not faulting them. They're going to take advantage of what's available. And Congress did, in 2019, also appropriate an extra $4.6 billion to handle the surge at that time. Now we've got this latest surge, and it's all rolled into this $2 trillion package they pushed through the other day, but for the most part, is not going to help those suffering from COVID relief and is not really helping the border issue either. So reporters are not being allowed inside these facilities. That's why you're not getting direct reports. Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas did take some pictures and share them, and it shows, quote, not cages as we've seen before, either interlocking like chain link fence, but just plastic sheets, maybe plastic, maybe plexiglass separating, quote, rooms. And inside the, quote, rooms, you have dozens and dozens, all not social distancing and not all wearing masks, put together and often sleeping on a floor. For many of them, sleeping on that floor in that facility is probably better than where they were. That's not to say we want to do it that way, but that's probably better. And supposedly you're getting better food and cleaner water than they might have been getting where they were. I want you to hear from Texas Congressman Jimenez. He's a Republican. He also went down to the border and took a look at what's going on. And Congressman Jimenez summed it up this way.
Look, what I saw at that Customs and Border Protection facility, hundreds and hundreds of children, boys and girls, and I'm talking boys and girls. I'm not talking 17, 16. I'm really talking boys and girls. I'm talking 5, 6, 7. They come across the border by themselves. They have little pieces of paper telling them call so-and-so and address. But here's the thing. A lot of these girls, young girls, are being molested. Maybe up to 30% are being molested.
Up to 30% being molested. I have no doubt. I mean, they're being molested by the cartel members as they bring them forward, the coyotes, and maybe they're being molested by other members of the caravan, either teen boys or older boys, men. And again, just because they have a phone number in their pocket and they present it, say, this number's to be called, if we're not verifying that that person that they're going to be sent to on that phone number is really a relative, a family member, what are the odds that we're helping sell these children into sex crimes? You don't know, do you? Wouldn't that be one of the worst things, that you think you're helping and yet you're not? I recall a female reporter at a station where I worked at one time. She was a single mother, doing the best she could. And I know many of you listening out there have been in the same situation, either a single-parent father, mother, or you know others who are. And she relied on an elderly couple to take care of her kids during the day. And by elderly, they were in their 60s plus. And they even started calling them Grandma and Grandpa because they lived nearby, and they just started calling them that. Well, after a period of time, one of the kids, I think the boy in particular, did not want to go back. He just didn't want to go. Would fight every day not to be sent to that house for being taken care of during the day. Well, the mother, I got to get to work. I just said, you gonna stay. Just be quiet and do it. And then also the other child began to complain. I don't want to do it either. Well, Mom at the time just thought that they didn't want to be kept where they were. They wanted to be at a friend's house or whatever, because they would always say, can I go to Joey's house or something like that. Probably years later, something like 6+ years when the kids are older, into their late teens, she's told that they were being molested every day that they were in that house. Now, you can imagine what it did to her, that she subjected her kids to it. If we're not careful with these illegal kids coming across, just carrying a phone number to call and try to establish, connect them with someone, we should be feeling the same thing. We don't know what we're doing to them. And for the drug cartel, all of this, they are making big, big money. Again, let's go to a response from Congressman Carlos Jimenez, Republican of Florida.
We estimate that the cartels, the multinational cartels, are making close to $500 million per month. They use these migrants to divert Customs and Border Protection agents to a certain section. Then they go ahead and rush the other sections that are unprotected, and they bring us drugs and all other kinds of mayhem that they bring.
They obviously do. That's what they thrive on. That they thrive on smuggling drugs and people in particular. And right now, like it or not, we're helping them because of the new border laws or lack of laws imposed by the Biden executive order. I would like to have some Democrat who's all for what we're doing right now explain to me that they're happy and have no problem with these kids coming up there, and we think we're giving them a better life and protecting them, when in fact we're not. Because the other thing is, they're not being brought up here for free. Somebody had to pay some money. Somebody might have bought them from their parents in Central America or Mexico and bringing them up. And then they're going to use those kids once they come across one way or the other. And if you don't have the money to pay, you will work it off. In this nation, you will be a slave. So you think slavery is done in this nation? We are now building it again with the drug cartels. Again, the Congressman Jimenez.
This is actually great for the multinational cartels. It's horrible for the migrants who are some of them are being murdered on the other side of the border. If they can't come up with the money, they're being extorted. And they're also being used, if they get across, hey, you owe us $6,000, you're now an indentured servant here in the United States until you pay us back. Basically, it's modern day slavery. That's what's going on in the border, and it's outrageous.
Modern day slavery. Where do I hear people crying out saying, stop it? He also points out that an illegal from Central America or Mexico might have to pay $6,000 minimum to get across. If they're a Chinese immigrant, they're going to charge them $35,000. If they don't pay, you work it off. More on the confusing message to these families coming up.
You can connect with Larry on Twitter @LarryConnorsUSA.